The stars above Velnary Outpost sparkled like frozen fireflies in the sky. The base stood on red rocky ground surrounded by distant mountains and glowing alien trees. The air smelled strange, like burnt metal and soft flowers. It was quiet until the human ship arrived. Commander Rhea Morgan stepped down the ramp. She was tall, strong, and confident. Her spacesuit had the symbol of Earth's Peace Division on the chest. She looked around and took a deep breath. This was the first time humans were meeting the Zelyari face-to-face. The Zelyari were an advanced alien species. Their skin shimmered like crystal, and their eyes glowed with blue light. They had long arms and elegant faces. They were not a warlike species, but they were careful and suspicious. For centuries, they believed humans were primitive, emotional, and chaotic. One of the Zelyari scientists stepped forward to greet her. Her name was Elazin. She was younger than the others and curious by nature. Unlike most Zelyari, she wanted to understand humans, not judge them. When she saw Rhea, she tilted her head and blinked twice, a sign of surprise. "This is a human?" Ayla whispered to herself. She had read files, watched videos, and studied anatomy reports. But none of it prepared her for this. The human stood, tall, with eyes full of focus and warmth. There was a strength in Rhea, not just physical, but something else. Something deeper. A kind of energy Ayla didn't know how to describe. "Welcome to Velnary Outpost," said a Zelyari diplomat. "We hope your journey was peaceful." "It was," Rhea replied with a calm smile. "And I hope our mission will be peaceful too." The delegates nodded. Talks began quickly. Humans and Zelyari were meeting to discuss a trade and defense agreement. There had been strange signals near the edge of their shared space. Both sides believed it was better to cooperate than fight alone. While the leaders discussed politics, Ayla kept watching Rhea. She wasn't being rude, just fascinated. She had seen many species, but no one like this human commander. There was something powerful in the way she spoke, the way she listened, and the way she stood tall even in silence. Later, in the research wing, Ayla approached Rhea with a request. "Commander Morgan," she said politely, "would you allow me to study human biology and emotional response systems? It is part of my science program." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "You want to study emotions?" "Yes, and physical performance. We call it the core trait of your species," Ayla said. "Some of us, we call it the love muscle," Rhea blinked. "The what?" Ayla quickly explained. "It's a word we use to describe something we don't fully understand. It's not just your physical heart or brain. It's your drive, your loyalty, bravery, kindness, even your anger when protecting others. It's like an invisible force inside humans." Rhea laughed gently. "That's an unusual name for it." "I agree," Ayla admitted, "but it fits." Rhea nodded slowly. "All right, you can study me. But only if I get to ask some questions too." Ayla smiled. "Deal." The next few days passed quickly. Rhea and Ayla worked together in the labs and the training zones. Ayla measured heart rates, muscle reaction, and emotional responses. Rhea learned about Zelyari, language, mind links, and thought crystals. They spoke about their worlds, their fears, and their hopes. During one session, Ayla asked, "Why do humans keep going even when it's hard?" Rhea answered simply, "Because we care. We care about our people, our world, our future. That's what keeps us moving forward." Even in pain, Ayla paused. Her glowing eyes studied Rhea carefully. "That is the love muscle, then. It is not a part of the body, it is the will of the heart." Rhea smiled. "Maybe you're right." That evening, Ayla returned to her chambers feeling confused. She had studied hundreds of species, but none had ever made her feel like this. She wasn't sure if it was admiration, curiosity, or something more, but she knew one thing: humans were not what she expected. They were more. They were not just strong, they were alive in a way that inspired others. As the stars shimmered above Velnary Outpost, a quiet change had begun. Not just between two people, but between two worlds. And deep inside, Elazin felt something new waking in her, something warm, something powerful, something very human. She looked out the window and whispered, So, this is a human love muscle. Morning came to Valneri outpost with soft, golden light glowing through the dome above. It was the day of the Unity Trials, a friendly event planned between the humans and the Zeliari to build trust and show cultural strengths. Both sides had agreed to take part in simple challenges: strength, speed, logic, and emotional control. Commander Rhea Morgan stood in the center of the arena, stretching her arms and legs. She wore a light training suit instead of armor today. Her hair was tied back and her eyes looked calm but focused. She wasn't just here to compete, she was here to represent humanity. Across the field stood Ayla Zin. Though she wasn't a warrior, she had been chosen to observe the trials closely. Ella stood with a small device in her hand, ready to record every detail. But she couldn't lie to herself. She was also here to watch Rhea, the Zeliari leader. Varnix floated forward on a hover platform and raised his hand. "Let the trials begin," he said in a deep voice. The first event was a test of strength. Both sides had to lift and carry power cells through an obstacle course. The human team went first. Rhea took the lead, lifting the heavy energy packs onto her shoulders with ease. Her movements were fast and balanced. The Zeliari crowd murmured in surprise. No one had expected a human to move so quickly with such weight. Allah's eyes widened. She looked down at her readings. Rhea's heart rate was high but steady. Her muscles worked with smooth coordination, but what impressed Ayla the most was Rhea's expression. She wasn't showing off. She wasn't angry. She looked focused, calm, and almost peaceful. When the Zeliari team took their turn, they struggled to match the same speed and control. They were fast, yes, but lacked the same kind of physical connection humans seemed to have with their own bodies. Ayla recorded her notes quietly, her heart beating a little faster. Next came the test of logic. Both teams had to solve a complex 3D puzzle made of floating crystal blocks. Rhea, though not a scientist, stepped forward. She tilted her head and studied the patterns, then began to move the blocks calmly. She asked her teammate a few quick questions, and together they found the solution. It wasn't just her brain, it was her teamwork. Ella felt a warm feeling inside. She had thought logic and emotion were separate things. But this human showed they could work together. Rhea used her thoughts and feelings as one tool, not two. The final test was emotional control. A simulation was created to trigger stress and distraction. The teams were placed inside a virtual space with noise, flashing lights, and images of fear. They had to stay still and keep their hearts steady for 5 minutes. Most Zeliari did well. They were trained in meditation. But to Ayla's surprise, Rhea did just as well. She sat quietly in the simulation chamber, her breathing slow, her eyes closed. Later, when she stepped out, Ayla asked her how she did it. "I remembered my mother's voice," Rhea said with a soft smile. "She used to sing to me when I was scared. That memory gave me peace." Ayla was quiet for a long time. This was not the kind of strength she had expected. It was not just physical or mental, it was emotional. Humans had learned to use love, memory, and care as a type of power. At the end of the trials, the scores were close, but the humans had shown something new. Balance. Later that evening, there was a gathering in the shared lounge. The room buzzed with soft music and quiet laughter. Humans and Zeliari talked, shared food, and even played a few games. Ayla sat beside Rhea, her notebook forgotten on the table. "You didn't just pass the trials," Ayla said, looking at her. "You changed something. In me." Rhea raised an eyebrow. "Changed what?" "I thought strength was cold, logical, measured, but now I think strength is warm, alive. It can feel, it can care." Rhea didn't reply right away. She looked up at the stars through the glass ceiling and then back at Ayla. "Where I come from, caring isn't weakness. It's our fuel. It's what makes us fight, survive, and grow." Ayla felt something stir in her chest again. That strange, warm pull. She tried to understand it, but no science could explain it. It wasn't fear. It wasn't curiosity. It was something else. "I think I'm starting to understand this love muscle idea," Ayla whispered. Rhea laughed gently. Still a funny name, though, Ayla smiled. Yes, but maybe not wrong. As the stars glowed above and laughter echoed softly in the room, a quiet connection grew between human and alien one built not on orders or treaties, but on shared strength, understanding, and something neither of them could fully name just yet. But Ayla knew one thing for certain, whatever this feeling was. It was very, very human. Inside the smooth white halls of Velnary Outpost Science Dome, the air was filled with quiet hums from machines and soft blue light from data crystals. Elazin sat across from Commander Rhea Morgan in the observation chamber. Around them floated tiny sensor drones recording every movement, heartbeat, and tone of voice. I still don't understand why you agreed to be my subject, Ayla said as she tapped on her tablet. You are a leader, not a test sample, Rhea smiled gently. If this helps you understand humans better, it helps our future. That's what leaders are for. Ayla looked at her closely. You make it sound so simple. It is, Rhea said. Doing the right thing often is. Ayla blinked slowly. This answer wasn't in any of her training files. She was used to logic, reason, and efficiency. But Rhea's choices came from somewhere else, something emotional yet not chaotic. Something powerful, she began her questions. When was the first time you felt deep fear? Rhea's face became still. She thought for a moment before speaking. When I was 15, she said. My older brother was in a ship that lost control in orbit. We thought he was gone. I cried for hours. But he survived. When he came home, I hugged him like never. Before, Ayla nodded, recording the emotion, tone, and body language. But deep inside, something tugged at her, that story. It stirred something. And love? Ayla asked next. Not just family love. The kind that humans call romantic. Rhea leaned back slightly. That's harder. I felt it, yes. It can make you brave or scared. But the best kind of love is when you care about someone. More than yourself? Ayla paused her note-taking. That sounds so illogical, Rhea chuckled. Maybe, but it works. They continued for hours. Ayla asked about war, peace, fear, loyalty, and forgiveness. With each answer, her image of humans changed. They were not wild and uncontrolled as her people once believed. They had deep emotions, yes, but also control, meaning, and purpose. Later, Ayla ran a test where Rhea had to watch images from Earth's history. Some showed beauty sunrises, families, animals. Others showed pain storms, disasters, and war. Rhea didn't cry, but her face showed every emotion clearly. When Ayla asked how she stayed strong, Rhea replied, because we learn from all of it. Even pain can teach us something. That's why we survive. Ayla turned off the screen. Your strength. It isn't in your muscles or weapons, it's in how you feel, how you carry it. That's the true love muscle, isn't it? Rhea nodded slowly. That's what I believe. Ayla felt quiet. Her mind was full of data, but her heart felt strange. She had studied emotions before, but never like this. With Rhea, she wasn't just learning, she was experiencing. That night, Ayla returned to her private chamber. She sat under the soft crystal lights and stared at the sky beyond the window. Her notes were complete, her recordings saved, but her thoughts were scattered. She remembered Rhea's voice, her smile, her calm under pressure. Ayla had worked with many beings before, but Rhea made her feel small and strong at the same time. It wasn't fear. It wasn't logic. It was something new. Was this what humans called being moved? She tapped her fingers lightly together. Her heart was beating faster than usual. She tried to slow it down, but it didn't work. She looked at the mirror and whispered to herself, why is she inside my thoughts? The next morning, Ayla met Rhea again in the garden section of the outpost. The air smelled like the alien flowers that only bloomed under the twin suns. Rhea was sitting on a bench looking at a blue-leaf tree. Couldn't sleep? Ayla asked, walking over. Rhea smiled. Too much thinking. Ayla sat beside her. For a moment they said nothing. Then Rhea broke the silence, back on Earth. We have a saying, the heart knows before the mind understands. Maybe that's true for more than just humans. Ayla looked at her carefully. I think my heart is learning things faster. Then my mind, Rhea met her eyes. There was no fear in them, just warmth and patience. Then we'll let it learn? Rhea said. Isla turned her head toward the strange alien tree. It was beautiful, quiet, and full of life, just like the strange human beside her. She took a slow breath and whispered, "So this is what it feels like to feel." Days passed peacefully at the Velneri outpost. Humans and Zeliari were learning from each other, sharing knowledge, and building trust. Commander Rhea Morgan continued to work closely with Elazin, and their friendship grew stronger with every meeting, but peace is never safe for long. That evening, a warning signal echoed through the communication dome. The soft lights turned red. Sirens buzzed low but sharp. Rhea was in the middle of a discussion with Zeliari leaders when her communicator lit up. "Commander," said her second-in-command, Lieutenant Drex, "a human supply ship has gone silent near the upper ridge. We believe it's under attack." Ayla, who was standing nearby, frowned. "No one is allowed to attack during peace talks." "Who would do this?" Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Not all Zeliari want peace. Maybe someone wants this alliance to fail." Within minutes, Rhea and Ayla were inside a patrol shuttle racing through the orange sky. The ship flew low between cliffs, heading toward the last known location of the missing human vessel. "I didn't expect to be in combat today," Ayla said, holding tightly to her seat. Rhea adjusted the controls calmly. "Neither did I, but sometimes we don't get to choose when to be strong." As the shuttle turned around a jagged mountain, they saw the human ship, damaged, smoking, and surrounded by 3 smaller fighters. The ships bore Zeliari markings, but not official ones. These were rogue ships used by the extremist faction that had long opposed human contact. "They're attacking from the shadows," Rhea said. "Cowards." Before Ayla could reply, the enemy ships noticed them. One broke formation and rushed toward Rhea's shuttle, weapons flashing. Rhea grabbed the controls and dodged the blasts with sharp turns. "Hold tight!" she shouted. Ayla, though not trained for battle, kept her eyes on the enemy patterns. "That ship is fast but not smart. It turns wide on the right. Use that angle." Rhea nodded and twisted the shuttle, letting the enemy overshoot. Then she fired a short burst from the defense cannon. The enemy ship exploded in a flash of orange light. "That was good work," Rhea said. Ayla smiled slightly. "I'm learning from the best." The 2 remaining ships started retreating. Rhea chased them for a moment, then stopped. "Let them run. We have to check on the crew." They landed near the damaged human ship. The hatch was jammed, so Rhea grabbed a heavy tool and forced it open. Inside, a team of 3 engineers was huddled behind storage crates. They were bruised but alive. "We're fine now, Commander," one of them said. "Just a few burns and a broken engine." Ayla looked around and noticed something strange, marks on the walls of the wrecked ship. Zeliari letters sprayed in dark blue ink. "They left a message," she said. Rhea read it. "Humans must not rise. We are the first. We will be the last." Ayla felt a chill in her chest. "That is the motto of the isolation wing? I thought they were gone." "So did your leaders," Rhea said. "But someone is giving them orders again." As they prepared to fly back to base, Ayla sat silently beside Rhea. The warm feeling inside her, the one she had just started to understand, was now mixed with something colder. "Fear, Rhea," she said quietly. "I'm afraid." That's okay," Rhea replied. "Fear is normal. What matters is what we do next." Back at Velneri Outpost, the council gathered in emergency session. Ayla stood before them and spoke boldly. This attack was not only against humans, it was against peace itself. If we let them win, we lose everything we've built. Some Zeliari leaders hesitated. "You're too emotional," one said, but Rhea stepped forward. "No, she's exactly what we need. Emotion with purpose is true strength." Ayla looked at Rhea, and in that moment she understood something new. The love muscle wasn't just about caring. It was about standing up when it mattered. It was about protecting others even when you're afraid. Later that night, the stars shined clearly again over the outpost. Ayla and Rhea stood near the observation deck, watching the sky. "They won't stop," Ayla said. Neither will we, Rhea replied. Because we have something they don't. Ella turned toward her. What is that? Rhea looked at her softly. Hope and each other. Ayla didn't speak. She simply stood close, her crystal blue eyes reflecting the stars and something else, something very human. The tension inside Valneri outpost had grown. After the surprise attack, both humans and Zelyari remained on alert. Patrols doubled, communication lines stayed open 24/7, and every move was watched closely. But even in the middle of all the security updates, one thought kept returning to Ayla's S mine Commander Rhea Morgan. It wasn't just about the mission anymore. Ayla felt something changing inside her. Every time she saw Rhea's calm face, her brave actions, or her kind words, her heart beat faster. She had spent cycles studying alien feelings, but now she was feeling one of her own. Ayla didn't know what to do with it. On the third night after the attack, Ayla sent a personal message to Rhea. I request your presence in the confession chamber. Please come alone. Rhea paused when she read the message. The confession chamber was a sacred space in Zelyari culture. It was not for politics or war. It was for truth, deep truth. That evening, Rhea entered the confession chamber. It was a quiet, circular room made of glowing blue stone. The floor was soft, and the ceiling showed a real-time view of the stars above. In the center stood Ayla, waiting. Rhea took slow steps toward her. I'm here. What's this about? Ayla's voice was calm, but her hands were slightly shaking. In our culture, this room is where we speak what our minds cannot hide. We confess what is real inside us, even if we don't fully understand it. Rhea nodded gently. I see. Ayla looked up at her. Her crystal blue eyes were clear. I have always trusted logic, science, data, but lately all of that seems small when I'm with you. Rhea didn't speak. She listened. You are different from any being I've met. You are strong without being cruel. You lead with care, not fear. When I first called it a love muscle, I didn't understand what it really was. Ayla took a deep breath. But now I know. It's what I feel when I'm near you. The chamber grew silent. The stars above them twinkled, as if waiting for an answer. Rhea stepped forward slowly. I had a feeling you were going to say something. Like that. You did? Ayla asked. Yes, I've seen it in your eyes. I felt it too. I just didn't want to speak first because I know how new this is for you. Ayla looked down. It is new. And strange, but not bad. Rhea smiled softly. Not bad at all. Ayla met her gaze again. You make me want to be braver. Not just for my people, but for myself. Rhea nodded. Then this feeling is helping you grow. That's a good sign. Ayla took another step closer. Do humans? Do you also feel this way when someone is important to you? Rhea's voice became warm. Yes, when someone matters. We protect them, we listen, and we never leave them behind. That's what love means to us. Ayla felt something rise in her chest. Not confusion anymore, but clarity. I want to stay by your side, Rhea, not as a scientist. Not as a soldier, but as something more. Rhea placed a gentle hand on Ayla's shoulder. Then that's what you'll be. They stood together for a long moment, surrounded by silence and stars. No loud words, no dramatic actions, just quiet understanding. Outside the confession chamber, the world was still full of danger. But inside, there was peace. Later that night, as they left the chamber, Rhea asked, Are you ready for what comes next? Ayla nodded. I'm not sure what it will be, but if you're with me, I won't be afraid. Just then, a call came. Through Rhea's communicator. It was urgent. Commander, we've detected strange movement on the outer ridge again. Possibly another attack? Rhea's face became serious, but not cold. We'll handle it. Ayla's expression matched hers, together. As they moved toward the command deck, side by side, their bond was no longer silent. It was strong, honest, and unshakable, and deep inside Ayla's heart. The once mysterious human love muscle now had a name. Connection. It was the strength to care, the courage to speak, and the choice to stand with someone even when the future was unknown. A dark shadow moved across the sky above Valneri outpost. The stars, once peaceful and bright, were now covered by fast-moving warships. They belonged to the Zeliari Isolation Wing, a dangerous rebel group that wanted to end all contact with humans forever. Inside the command center, alarms flashed red. Voices filled the room. Everyone was rushing. Humans and Zeliari officers worked side by side. But the tension was rising fast. Commander Rhea Morgan stood tall at the center of the room, calm and focused. Beside her stood Ayla, now wearing a sleek silver communication headset and a badge showing she had become an official human Zeliari liaison. "They're coming fast," said Lieutenant Drex, Rhea's second in command. 10 ships armed and ready. "They don't want to fight," Ayla said softly. "They want to destroy the treaty. If they do that, everything we've built will fall apart." "Then we won't let that happen," Rhea replied. She turned to the council. "Prepare the defense systems, lock down civilian areas, and give me 1 shuttle. I'm going to stop their leader before they attack." Ayla looked at her in surprise. "Alone?" Rhea met her eyes. "Not alone. You're coming with me." Ayla didn't hesitate. "Then let's stop this. Together." Within minutes, the two were flying a fast recon shuttle through the upper atmosphere. The rebel ships had not attacked yet. They hovered above the outpost like hunters waiting to strike. Rhea opened the communication line. "This is Commander Morgan. I request to speak with your leader. This doesn't have to end in violence," a deep voice replied. "No more words. Humans are a threat. Peace is a lie." Ayla leaned toward the mic. "You are wrong. I am Zeliari, and I stand with the humans. They are not perfect, but they fight for life, for hope." There was a pause. Then the enemy leader responded. "Then you are no longer one of us?" At that moment, a warning light flashed. Missiles locked onto their shuttle. "Evasive maneuvers," Rhea shouted, spinning the shuttle hard to the left. 2 missiles shot past them, exploding in the clouds. The shuttle shook but stayed in the air. "We have to get closer," Rhea said. "If I can board their command ship, I can end this." Ayla checked the coordinates. "There's a weak point on the lower hull, but you'll only have 1 chance to land." "I only need 1, Rhea said. As they approached the ship, defense guns fired around them. Rhea flew with perfect control, ducking, turning, sliding through the fire like she had done it 100 times. Ayla held on tightly, her heart racing. Not with fear but with pride. This is what made humans special. They didn't give up. Even when the sky was falling, they landed with a crash on the enemy's lower deck. Rhea grabbed her energy staff, and Ayla took a scanner device. The hulls of the ship were dark, cold, and full of strange humming sounds. They moved quickly. Suddenly, 3 rebel guards blocked their path. Without waiting, Rhea stepped forward. With quick moves, she disarmed. The first knocked the second to the ground and pointed her staff at the third. "Enough," she said. "We don't want to destroy you. We want peace. But we will fight if we must." The guards looked at each other, then backed away. They reached the command bridge. Inside stood the rebel leader, a tall Zeliari with black markings on his arms. "You've come far," he said. "And I'll go farther," Rhea said. "But you won't stop what's coming. You think humans are weak because we feel? But that's why we're strong." Ayla stepped forward. "She is right. You call emotion a weakness. But today I choose it. I choose her. I choose peace." The rebel leader raised his weapon before he could fire. Rhea stepped in front of Ayla, but the shot never came. One of the rebel lieutenants had turned his own weapon on the leader. "We're tired of fear," he said. "We've seen how humans fight for each other. Maybe it's time we stop fighting against them." The leader was taken into custody. The war was over before it began. Back at Velneri outpost, a cheer rose as the news spread. The rebel fleet stood down. The peace treaty would continue. And the first joint command mission was now a success. Later, on the garden deck, Rhea and Ayla stood together, watching the sky return to peace. "You jumped in front of me," Ayla said. Rhea smiled. "I told you, that's what humans do." Ayla reached for Rhea's hand. "Then I'll do the same now. I'll protect you. Because I choose you." The stars above them glowed once more, and in that quiet moment they both knew the strongest power in the galaxy wasn't fear or weapons. It was love, courage, and the choice to care. Peace had returned to Velneri Outpost, but everything had changed. The failed attack by the Zelyari Isolation Wing had only made the bond between humans and Zelyari stronger. Instead of fear, there was now unity. Instead of silence, there were open talks. And at the center of it all stood Commander Rhea. Morgan and Aelazin, their bravery had inspired many. Their teamwork had saved the day. But now a different kind of future was waiting. A week later, inside the grand hall of the outpost, leaders from both sides gathered for the final peace ceremony. Light blue banners with Earth's symbol waved beside the soft glowing flags of the Zelyari. The hall was full of soft music, curious whispers, and hopeful eyes. Rhea stood at the front in her formal uniform. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they met Isla's. The Zelyari scientist stood proud in her ceremonial robes, a calm and graceful figure. But behind her stillness was the same warmth Rhea had come to know so well. One by one, the delegates signed the treaty. It was more than just ink on paper. It was a promise for knowledge, for trade, and most of all, for friendship. When Rhea and Isla were called to the center, they stepped forward together. This document, the human ambassador said, marks not only an alliance, but the beginning of something greater. We do not just share space, we now share trust. Ayla took the pen first. Her hand was steady. I once thought emotions were dangerous, she said aloud. But I've learned they can be beautiful. That understanding has changed me forever. Then Rhea signed, adding, and I've learned that even the oldest stars can find new light. The room filled with quiet applause, soft and respectful, but full of meaning. After the ceremony, Rhea and Ayla walked through the outpost garden. The flowers, glowing faintly in the starlight, swayed with the gentle wind. This place will be quiet again, Rhea said, but never the same, Ayla replied. They sat on a stone bench beside a tall silver tree. For a while they said nothing. The silence between them was no longer strange, it was peaceful. You've been offered a command position, Ayla finally said. The Earth Council wants you to lead the new interstellar fleet. Rhea nodded slowly. Yes, a joint fleet, half human, half Zelyari, a sign of our future. That's a big responsibility, Ayla said. So is love, Rhea replied. Softly, Ayla looked at her, eyes wide and still. She had heard humans say that word before. In stories, in music, in quiet whispers, but this was different. This was real. I've never spoken that word out loud, Ayla admitted. You don't have to, Rhea said. I already know. Ayla smiled gently, then reached out her hand. Rhea took it. It was not a dramatic moment. No crowd, no music. Just a simple touch. A human hand and a Zelyari hand, different, yet warm and steady together. A month later, new ship launched from Velneri orbit. It was called the Horizon Flame, a symbol of unity, hope, and new beginnings. Rhea stood at the command bridge, wearing a new uniform marked with both Earth and Zelyari symbols. The crew included humans, Zelyari scientists, engineers, and even cultural translators, and standing beside her was Ayla, now officially part of Earth's Interstellar Council. As the ship moved through space, passing planets and stars, the crew looked ahead with wonder. Where to first? Ayla asked, stepping closer to Rhea. Rhea smiled. Wherever there's something worth protecting, something worth understanding. Ayla tilted her head. And if we find danger? We'll face it, Rhea said, with our minds. And, our love muscle? Ayla laughed, a quiet, joyful sound. Still a strange name, but it fits, Rhea said. It's not just about love. It's about loyalty, kindness, the will to protect something that matters. That's what makes us human. Ayla looked at her deeply. Then maybe I'm becoming a little more human every day. The stars ahead shimmered, and the horizon flame moved toward the unknown, guided by hope, powered by trust, and protected by something far stronger than weapons. 2 hearts, 2 worlds, 1 future.